So thank you for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here and be part of this community and get to know each other and share my story. So I will talk about very focused into my journey in my career, commenting on what was happening in my life as I was moving on until today. So I will focus in education, that is one part of my life, then work experience and what is happening now. So as mentioned, my background is in biochemistry. That was in Granada. I started that in 2000. So, but that time, to be honest, I didn't think a lot about like living my sexuality. A few years in college, I had a relationship with another woman at the time, but it was like totally hiding from everywhere. Um, the first year or so, I think that we were together like 2, 3 years. The first year was kind of okay, but then it started to be harder and harder. And this other person didn't want to come out. We were like very young, and it was south of Spain. Uh, so it gets more difficult in a small town somehow. And at some point, toward almost the ending, when I was close to graduating, I just broke that relationship because I didn't want to continue being like that anymore. Like hide, it was like feeling like nothing should be wrong with this. Um, the reason I studied biochemistry is a fun fact is because there was this show in Spain, probably coming from France, so as well there, that is all about explaining like how the human body works. So I think that it fueled a full generation of biologists and related fields in my generation because of this, and these are like antibodies. Try to find like bacteria and viruses inside the body. So that was the main reason I got into biochemistry. And I graduated in 2005. That was Granada. I realized that definitely I was lesbian, but I was like not out to anybody more than myself at that point. And as many people in Spain at that age, I decided to pursue a PhD, and I got into Barcelona. So I moved into Barcelona 2006, where I did my master, and then I started my PhD. And I still was not out of the closet by that time. I was very focused in my career, to be honest. But in the middle of the PhD, I met who is now my wife. So long time now. She is like they are over there jumping, celebrating what I just said. and and it was kind of like very typical lesbian relationship, I will say, but I won't get into that. So we met in 2009, and pretty much in 1 year we were living together. She was out when I met her, so that helped a lot for me to just decide to do that. And it was Barcelona, so my family wasn't there, so that helps a lot. But it took me a little bit to come out, and actually came out to like very close friends. So I would say like 5, 6 people. I'm an introvert outside work, so I just told the people who I was working very closely, because when I was like, I'm going to meet with my girlfriend at the time, like I didn't want to lie. So I was very lucky because I was very supported by my PhD and the colleagues that I have there. So it was quite a relief to just be myself. But I was still, my parents didn't know that, right? And there was a situation when I was in college that they discovered that I was with this girlfriend, and there was like a 5-minute discussion about this is wrong. So there was no more discussion in my house more than this, like this is like bad. And then we didn't talk about ever until I finished the PhD. Uh, and the main reason for that was because I just wanted to have the possibility to come to the States. So we wanted to get married, but we really needed to get married soon. So, but I will come back to that later. My PhD was in small non-coding RNA. I want to mention that because, to be honest, it was very productive. I had the lucky to be with the boom of sequencing. So I developed these two tools, SecBuster and SecCluster, that are even today used for the classification of all these small non-coding RNA that didn't exist at that time. The time was only this first column, microRNAs that regulate gene expression, but there was these others that have appeared during this year, the past 10 years, and I contributed to the field to characterize it and giving them a function in the gene regulatory field. So I felt like pretty good with that at my PhD. But the question is, what next? So I did what many do, right? The postdoc in epigenetics, in genomic alterations until 2014. But as I said, like there was like this feeling I have been for a while with my current wife. We wanted to get married, and I wanted to see if I could come to the States to explore more my career, because here compared to Barcelona at the time, there were like many more opportunities. And that is when I had to come out to my parents. Actually, I did only to my mom because I was very scared about, letting her down. Like, oh, I don't want to have this huge fight. I'm tired. I'm 30, like near to 30 years old. Like, I mean, I'm old. Like, like I I was tired. So my mom, to be honest, was like, okay, all is good. Are you, like, she asked for me if I was okay. And it was like a 5-minute conversation, but there was no any drama there. But she told me, I'm going to tell your dad and your brothers because my dad, other generation, right? So she wanted me to like not go through that through myself. And I say, okay. But so we are getting married like in September. So that is what is going on. So it turned out that she told my brothers and my dad, and with time it was okay. So like, we go visit there, them, and we have like like a normal relationship. And but it took a little bit for them, mainly my dad, to like come around with this new idea that probably he wasn't like thinking that much. So at that point, I was up to my family. That was good because then I didn't need to lie anymore. And then to my close friends, and then I was that time in my career that what do I do? And I got this opportunity at the Harvard Chan School, where I work again, to join the Bioinformatics core. And I was like very stressed out during the interview, like it's a new country. It's not an easy thing to do. But I was pretty much feeling like I don't want to be hiding wherever I go. So I remember that I went through an interview, everything was well. And the hiring manager told me, oh yeah, I think that we are moving forward with you. And I say, and we will send you an offer soon. And I say, as I feel like I had to say, well, so it was like in our relation very bad because I sent it to his work email, and it feels like a little bit of a trap, but I didn't do that in purpose. I say, hey, so I'm lesbian, and just in case this is not going to be a good environment for me. But this is out there because I don't want to move like to this other side of the Atlantic and like feel like I'm in a bad environment. But of course, I had the lucky to be in a very good environment. Everybody there, 8 people, and that helped a lot to like be part of my life without giving like just explanations. I want to say that besides being a lesbian, I'm a woman in computational biology. That is getting better, but still we are in a minority and more in leadership positions. So I founded and still work in this group for women in bioinformatics. And even if I have never announced that I'm part of this community, to be honest, like if you have met me, I will just say it in any kind of opportunity that I have, that it will be clear that I'm lesbian. So I'm trying to normalize it as much as possible, as soon as possible, wherever I go. Um, and that is what people like. Some people have approached me later and say, oh, thank you for make it like normal, like, like, oh, I just say because I was talking about what I did the weekend, so that is how I'm approaching this. During my time at Harvard, I work in all these open source programs and infrastructure and technologies, bioconductor, developing packages, part of Bioconda. So those are the big things that I did part of the research. And then I moved to biotech. That is a new environment, right? So to be honest, then I say, okay, I'm going to just be out as soon as possible, all the time, during the interview, during the first week, during anything. So I went to Genesis. That actually is a pretty cool company that is trying to use modify pigs organs to help into the transplant shortage that we have for humans. That is kind of one of the big problems in this field. And I actually helped to set up the sequencing technology there. So all the Illumina nanopore and 10x that are like very common now, I get it there working mainly to work in the plasmid design and verification, because we need to change the genome, but as well to select the right pig clones and to understand what was happening in the preclinical studies. So I started my leadership there position. I was a senior scientist. But then there was not a lot of more growth opportunity. I had kind of a bad experience, but mainly because a woman-man relationship more than like a lesbian thing. So there is that, but that is for, I guess, another talk. And today this company is actually in clinical trials, so you can like see like part of your work how it's impacting the innovation and the people who needs that. So there's still a long way to go, but it's starting to show up what I have been doing. Then I moved to Axela. So what you need to know from biotech, if you are not there, is that sometimes it's very unstable. So I joined, but then there was a restructuring of research. So research was gonna be like very, very slow. And I stayed for a little bit there, but I decided that I wanted to continue with my leadership position and skills at that time. And this is where I got the opportunity to move to NextRNA. I have been there 3 years. Again, like the very first opportunity I had to like say something that was clear that I was lesbian. I got it. Actually, I started with a friend that was gay, but at that time he was kind of not open or out in the workspace, and for him was good to have me there because I was like being very open, and he would see that anybody was like reacting or treating me in any different way. So actually this was the first time that he decided to present his boyfriend to some people in the company, and it was a big step for him, like for everybody when you do it the first time. But he felt very supported, and that is why I'm trying to as well be very open in my circle, because it could be a representation that you don't even know that is happening. So in NextRNA, to be honest, was quite a journey, and just wanted to say that because it was kind of from scratch, built everything, the team, the relationship with the other groups, the biology, the drug discovery, from the very foundation of what we needed to pillars with the first pipelines expansion, with the more hiring and more new technologies and the growth in this technology that I helped to establish until in the third year we came to the platform. So the platform is kind of the goal to build if you're a computational biology in a company. So I did that with the help of the team I built, and it gave me a lot of experience on that level of strategy, business, and scientific discovery. So again, there was some things happening in my life with we are getting older, our parents are getting older. So my mom got diagnosed with multiple myeloma. She's better now, but it's something that there is no cure yet for that. We as well lost my parents-in-law in like 8 months period. So I had to have another kind of life. So I had the opportunity to come back to Harvard Chan School to bring a little bit of the business perspective that I got, and to have more flexibility for my life. And this is where I'm now. And the main goal in my job is to try this new technology to academia. Sometimes academia get a little bit delayed in how to do and what to do. So my job is to make as faster as possible the discovery that we need for our collaborators as part of the bioinformatics core. And right now, the cloud, Sequera, Nextflow, NFCore, the new BC Bio that we are working on is what is my main role or responsibilities. And I want to end before doing a final comment with, after all this year, I built my vision and mission in the career. So I really want to accelerate the discovery process and make an impact of people with diseases. I do that by building platforms and for people who are not computational biologists to make easier to find hypotheses or validate hypotheses. And like through all these years, everything has been very hard, no matter what, at the career development, at my personal life. I like things that happen because we get older and people get sick, family members get sick. But I think that you get through all that because at the end it has some meaning. So Liz Meitner is a physicist, a woman who never got a Nobel Prize, but she was nominated like 20 times to the chemistry and physics Nobel Prize. And she was part of the discovery of the nuclear fission. So pretty big deal, but probably nobody knows a lot about her. So I just wanted, I used my presentation to like shout out to some women that are not very well known. But this is very true. So everything is hard. Many times it's like when I want to put myself out and make clear that I'm a lesbian, I'm always like, you get a lot of things, many times because ignorance or like things like you refer to your wife and somebody will say, you mean your husband? And it's like, no, I meant my wife. I mean, I know that I'm Spanish, but I wouldn't mix up wife and husband words. Or they mention you as a husband because it's like, doesn't compute, like cementation fault or something. And to be honest, it's not like, it's annoying. It's getting annoying. But I keep doing it, even if I sometimes don't want to feel like sharing my life with people I don't know a lot, just because maybe it gets better for others, as I have seen others being good representation for me. So yeah, that is what I just stand up now. I'm happy to answer anything.
Thank you, Lorena. Thank you for sharing all this information with us. I mean, I think one of the good things about this meeting is we are going to see a lot of common events and coincidences. I guess most of us, we transitioned these processes pretty much alone. So my question for you, why we see if there is another one from the audience, is would you have been out earlier in your life if you would have some more role models or institutional support, or was it more at the personal level? What would you have needed to make it easier, maybe for you?
Yeah, definitely I would have come earlier. I mean, it was like mm, I, where I grew up, it was a very small town. Um, mm, I was very scared about like doing something wrong, always for other like reasons, and the fact of a confrontation with my parents was always like scary for me. And at work, I didn't like. I did when I was in college. I didn't have anything. I didn't see anything. Like that was not an option, right? And in Barcelona, it was easier because it's kind of like this multicultural uh, place, and I started to see like more. But definitely seeing like more representation. Even if I had to confront my parents, I think like seeing like more people from this community out there, professors, teachers, in the TV, right? That now is easier, but I would have come probably the first time I got into this kind of more serious relationship and not wait like 9 years for doing it.
Thank you. Any other question from either the speakers or somebody in the chat? This relationship with family also is very interesting. I mean, I guess also we all get scared, and I think this is also interesting from this activity, especially for allies. I guess allies in every level, like our PhD supervisors, undergraduate supervisors, professors, teachers, colleagues, they sometimes may not really understand the burden we go through. I also was completely scared of telling my family. I also spent some months without talking to my father at all. And then things became better, and he accepted me. And I mean, there was no other option. But many of us don't have, we are not that lucky, and the process is harder. And yes, it's important to make this explicit to everybody outside of our community, because it's important that they know that we go through certain processes that are pretty much particular of our community, and this is really hard sometimes. So
Yeah.
thank you, Lorena, for your talk.